Welcome everyone to our podcast. It's Zero here with
Slider.
And the Decade.
Uh, Today we're looking at episode 8 of Kamen Rider Ex-Aid titled Men Fly High. I guess first thing of note is, in the opening we finally started getting the clips from the crossover movie inside the opening.
your thoughts, Decade.
Well, basically the crossover is just gonna encompass Rider's Wizard onward. And
With the absence of Koda's actor.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they brought back, Haruto's actor and
Yes.
Shinosuke's actor.
Yeah.
And of course Takeru's actor. But, Gaku Sano is off to do other things. And
Yeah, I figured that'd be the
listening
case.
to the trailer, it seems like somebody who's trying to impersonate him.
No, I'm pretty sure they just got him to do like the voiceover for the.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've heard him. I would love it if it was voiceover.
I'm pretty sure that's
Even if
what they
it's
did.
just a soundboard, as long as it's not somebody new.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that it's mostly gonna be Ghost and Ex-Aid, of course, but I do hope that Soma and Shinosuke get their fair share of screen time.
I would like, I know since it's probably just gonna be one big story like last year, but I would still like to see something like the, Forza and O's movie, where Double still got a fair share.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
That was pretty awesome.
You know what I actually want? Because it's pretty early, I hope they do, man, I keep bringing like Z-Cross. I wonder if you guys have even seen it.
I have not.
Nope.
No? Okay. Basically, Z-Cross was going to be a series, but it never got that chance. What they were going to do is they're going to do like this, it's movie, and it was just going to be like a pilot for the series.
I thought that was Shin.
Yes. But Z-Cross was before, like, he was
Shin.
before
Yeah.
Black.
Because Z-Cross is technically Showa. We lump Shin in with Showa, but I believe technically Shin, Zio, and J are all.
I mean,
very
RX
early
is
Heisei.
pretty much Heisei when Heisei started. Like 2/3
But they're
of the
still
way.
grouped in with the I writers.
Yeah, and I think like it's Kuga onward is Heisei now. I mean, it's sort of like Godzilla
Yeah.
where they do the like series,
Right.
you know, like
And now we're in Shin Godzilla. That was a cool movie. We
yeah.
can talk about that at a later date when there's no Ex-Aid or something.
Sure.
Or not at all. Who knows? But back to Ex-Aid episode 8.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, that trailer that's basically what it is, right? The intros are trailers. They cut
Right.
like a lot smaller than they did in like Coast. Holy crap, man. Coast is like every week it's like, oh, we're gonna spoil more and more. Let's better go out and see it now.
Well, I'm sure they're going to keep going after the movie comes out, because that's out, like, either this week or next week.
Yeah, but for
I think
Ghost it
next
was
week.
so mandatory, I guess they had to do that. Because the characters just show up and they expect you to know them. But for this, at least it's fine. It looks fun, and man, like, this damn intro was awesome as it was, but then they cut it with like the more actiony footage from the movie, and it's even more awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to, if it's okay with you two, I'm going to go on a short toy collector
Sure.
rant. So, Ex-Aid, the Excite, the opening, I love this song. So, not even toy collector, but music,
Yeah,
Toku music.
it's great.
Avex, the publishing company, can't seem to make up their minds. I was looking at updates. So the Excite CD releases January 18th, 2017, which is a stark contrast to Ghost and Drive's openings, which pretty much released the first week of December. And then going back past that, Gaim's literally released, I think, week 1 of the show, which was weird enough already.
Yeah.
Just like, so week 1 to 8 episodes in or whatever. And then we get to Wizard, who was end of September, I want to say. which was 2 months in, and Forza was 2 months in. It's just like, they can't seem to make up their mind.
Yeah, I mean,
And then, yeah,
since Japanese licensing is a freaking nightmare. I mean, that's why there's like so many agencies to help and to make the process a pain in the ass.
right.
But so like you never know what the hell's going on.
And then my toy collector rant on this is, so they're making, as far as right now, 4 different versions of the CD are being released. There's the typical just CD. There's the CD plus the music video DVD. And then there's 2 different gashaps. There's one that plays the theme song, Ex-Aid, on it.
Nice.
Which I love because it's show music. The theme song is on the gimmick toys, and I love that. And then the other one is battle music from the show on the gashap. And I was just like, what? You had to buy the CD twice.
Okay, is it battle music or is it like the writer's themes?
I don't know. All it says is battle music. 40 seconds of it. That's all it says right now.
Well, we'll see. We'll learn more about that in the coming month, but
I don't know. I'm just annoyed that you have to buy it twice, especially when the sets with the gashups are
Yeah, because
3,300 yen a piece.
I'm sure the Den-O CDs were so small with like the 5 million versions of its theme.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when Kiva, they made like extra stuff, it was extra stuff. You know, instead of like
it wasn't
the
just
same old
repackaged.
thing. But it's freaking Toei and Bandai we're talking about here. They will
Well,
milk
Toei,
any...
Bandai, and Avex. Avex is the people who published music.
I know. It's like the combination of people who are just gonna milk this like no tomorrow, right?
Right.
Plus,
Okay.
you have to remember, like, the Japanese market for media consumption is totally different than outside of Japan.
I know.
Yeah.
It makes no sense as an American, to me at least,
I mean,
for
like,
stuff like
you
that,
have
but
to-
I'm sure it's a lot more common in Japan.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of why you have to be really freaking hardcore to be a otaku in Japan, because, like, literally it's like food money or, you know, stuff I'm into money. Because, like, their prices are crazy high, and yeah, this is the type of crap that happens. It's like, okay, support the show, buy 4 damn CDs.
Well, and then there's the, we are getting off topic, so we'll go back in a bit. But, this, just a heads up for future listeners, this was recorded 11/30, 2016. Well, which is 2 days after Final Fantasy 15 launched. And you know you've got a problem. When to keep track of all the versions, you have to have a spreadsheet.
Ugh.
They made an official spreadsheet to keep track of each of the versions for the Japanese Final Fantasy 15.
Damn. You're almost as bad as Windows Vista there.
Okay, so getting back
No,
to...
seriously, they actually have charts in textbooks about, like, okay, this is the version of Vista, and what does it do?
I know, I've seen those are on the back, what's included. So yeah, back to Ex-Aid episode 8, Mid by High. We should probably get back to that in the actual episode itself. So we left off episode 7 with, Kyria being distrusted once more. The daddy still has one of his twin, bugsters running around, and Taiga's chasing it. So the dad's still in the hospital, or wherever they are. So, the episode pretty much starts off with a scene of him just checking in on the patient, and then we cut to Asuna. It's Asuna, right?
Yeah.
Poppy's disguise, talking to the daughter, and she said she felt like she had to help the factory because it's so small.
That's...
And then,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because you see her trying to explain the dad's logic and why he's pushing her away because he wants her to do her own thing and not worry about his problems. But then with Kiria, it's just attack him, don't trust him. So it's interesting to see that contrast between Poppy and Kiria and Asuna and the patient. It's like they really are like two completely different people, which is kind of strange, but pretty awesome at the same time.
So yeah, then Emu Raymond. Oh, sorry. Did you have anything to say on that, Zero? I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah, I think most of that was covered before, but
Yeah.
it is good to see like the contrast in their personalities because AI and human, slight differences. What you're supposed to do is like distrust Kiria, and maybe that's why she's projecting so hard on that. But then you see like her own like personality, like how perceptive she is, where it's like, like she totally understood what the dad was going for there, which is pretty impressive.
So then after that discussion, we cut back to Emu. Thinking back to when he got tricked by Kiria this last episode 7. With the it's Dan, but the stunt double and everything. And she's like, that doesn't really matter. We can focus on that later, but right now we need to. The patient comes first. Thoughts?
Well, he brings up the point that like when he's talking to the patient, because it's pretty obvious by now that his daughter isn't the only thing that's stressing him out.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. It's kind of interesting that whoever's infecting the patients, they're using the two bugsters to attack them on like two different fronts. So I wonder if we're gonna see more of the double infections, or that's just kind of to get the level 3s rolling.
No, knowledge of the toy catalogs, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much done.
Okay.
And just looking at the story we've already had set up, this completes 9 of our King Gashats that we initially set out to have. The base story said, and as we'll get to, the last one is in the next episode. So I don't think we're having any more double Gashat.
Okay.
Double bugsters like this. Just a guess.
That's interesting. But, I mean, it was a good setup, I guess, while it lasted, considering, like...
It was.
It was. Plus, it showed, like, Emma's growth, where, he was so naive, and now he's, like, just becoming... Like, Dan's words are basically coming true, where it's like he's becoming more disheartened as time goes on. But you're also seeing him maturing faster because it's like, no, I gotta focus on what's important. And like, his heroic side. I mean, more decent person side, but it shows like, a good hero should be caring, as in contrast to what some of the other writers do in this episode. But yeah, it is interesting that they found someone with 2 stressors. Like, I wonder if that was planned, or if they just like, okay, dude, here, you're infected with 2 Bucksters. And then
Yeah, I think it probably just was a coincidence. Or actually, I think there's 2 stress suits because they put 2 Bugsters in them, and that's what the writers wanted to do.
I know, but like, yeah, everything any character does is that's what the writers want to do. But, I wonder, like, how much of it's planned and how much of it's just on the fly. I mean, we can only see that know all that info going forward, seeing more of the villains. But, like, up till now, like, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, this show is so good with its writers and its villains. Like, basically, it hasn't pulled the rug out from under me enough for me to go like, all right, I know you're faking this. Like some shows where it's like they pretend to be smart, and then you're like, no, you're clearly BSing. You're just making this as you go along. But as of right now, like, I can't tell how smart the villains are. Right? Like, did they find a guy who had like complex things to put two Bucksters in? Did they just put it in the guy and, the Bucksters themselves decided on two different stressors? Did they just put it in and, the Buckster decided to do whatever the hell they wanted? Like, I don't. So it's like I can't tell how much of it's planned and how much not. And that's not one of those like muddy things of like what the hell are the villains doing? It's like it's a show like surprising competence in writing where it's like, okay, I can't discount how good and how dangerous these guys are, but if it was just luck, at least
Yep.
it's not cheap. The show's not playing it up as like, oh, look at this brilliant plan or something that the villains had. And, later on you just find out that was total bullshit.
Ghost.
Ghost was okay, but man, freaking
that plan.
Drive. Which plan? Ardell's plan?
Yeah.
Okay. He went off the deep end and
The show went off the deep end. They
Yeah.
should be focusing more on the ghost theme, not the eyeball theme. The show is called Kamen Rider Ghost,
the
not
show.
Kamen Rider Eyeball.
Well, okay. The show is called whatever the hell Toei and Bandai want, but the other problem is. I mean, like Hibiki. Did we forget that happened? Right. The problem was most like half the show was written without the head writer, and that's kind of the problem. It's like the movies are really in continuity with Ghost, and the problem that's good, but the problem is they pull the writer constantly off Ghost to write the damn movies, and so it's like, what the hell was the priorities there, Toei? It's like, no wonder you fucked the show up. It's like you gave it to the secondary guy to go from point A to point, I don't know, freaking Z, or maybe not that far, but like halfway, with like no ideas really how to get there. So it's one of those things where like Toei does dumbass shit to their writers.
Right.
Like, especially, like, it's the same problem with Wizard. It's like, okay, it's a one-writer show. It's like, no, it's not. Now it's 2. It's like, no, it's not. Now it's 5. Can I use... No. You don't get to use them properly. It's like, what the fuck? And the same thing with Ghost. It's like, they pulled the main guy off to do the damn movies. It's like, why would you do that?
Ghost was a mess.
At least this show hasn't been fucked with, apparently, or maybe it has, and the writing team is so well doing such a good job that you don't notice it.
Right.
I mean, then again, Ghost started off pretty well too.
Yeah. Let's not jinx it. But yeah, we were, yeah, it pretty much been established that MU focuses on the patients.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, but like for all the stuff going on, you should have like your main writer that's like simple and identifiable. You don't want it to be like too overcomplicated or like
Right now,
wishy-washy.
he's patients first.
I know it's simple, but like like for all the multiple like writer versus writer shows, the decent ones anyway. You have like, what's the main hero's thing? Okay, Ryuki. He's just a nice guy who wanted to protect people from monsters. Kabuto, walk the path of heaven. Why? Watch Godspeed Love. And later on in Kabuto, you figure more stuff out. Decade's problem is nobody knew what the hell the story was because the show ran twice as long as it should, and the writer's room was apparently like rotating writers in and out like crazy. And Gaim's problem is like it tried to make Ryuki and then it didn't get what made Ryuki. And then this is doing good, where it's simple. It's like, yeah, he's naive, but he cares about the pain. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you make a naive character, make something good about them too. Because if you just make them naive and good, like, that's crap. like give them something they're willing to fight for. You know, like Kiddo, like everybody just calls him an idiot, but the thing is like
Yeah.
uh in the show, like as it goes on, like he rubs off on people just because like he's genuinely like wants to help people and be like a decent human being. Um, and then like same thing with Emerald, like yeah, he's an intern and he just wants to save patients, even though he kind of acts like an idiot. I mean, it's clearly rubbing off on Hero a little
Right.
bit, right? Because like even in this, he's like, like you should save the patient. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah,
So yeah, after all that, Amy deciding that patient come first. He talks to the patient, dad, whatever, and finds out that he does have a second stressor, as we mentioned, because the factory that he runs keeps having workers quit, which must suck.
oh yeah, man.
God.
Well then, does he go to the factory right after? Oh,
Pretty much,
that,
because that's when the jet combat bugster or whatever
yeah,
attacks the factory, blowing it up.
yeah.
And they're all there. And, we get our first fight scene of the episode, which is Snipe Taiga transforming and gets the gas shot from the bugster, the jet combat gas shot, without destroying the bugster.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And ends up taking the bugster hostage to force M to fight him because M's focused on destroying the
I knew when
bugster
I
and saving
saw
the
that
patient.
in the trailer for this episode that it was gonna be pretty interesting. One thing that I thought was pretty messed up before even, I guess once Taiga shows up, is that he's like, "Oh, I knew you'd be here." So, I mean, he could have stopped him from just blowing up the factory, but he just waited for him to.
Oh, it's pretty much established Taiga's the giant dickhole.
Yeah. Luckily, the workers survived, but yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Taiga's just so jaded. It's like, fuck it, collateral damage. It happens.
And so yeah, he challenges Imu to a duel. Him and Hiro to a duel, with their gas shots on the line.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm just going to go into the show. I don't know whether it was a translation thing or what. That wasn't very clear. Gonna jump ahead of me. I honestly made a QC note of this and ended up deleting it. He says gas shot, at least in the TV Nihon translation, and I thought he wanted both the transformation gas shot and the level 3 gas shot. What's interesting is, jumping forward, he only ends up taking the level 3 gas shots, which is confusing to me, considering he was trying to take Mighty Action X earlier in the show.
Yeah, I think he planned to do that, but like when Hero showed up, like Taiga's like, okay, I just better cut my losses here. Because like I think he's like, if I go to try to take their damn like basic forms away too, these guys are probably gonna be too much of a pain in the ass right now. Especially because like maybe he knows that like as later on, like he knows more about these damn drivers than anybody else. Like maybe he just didn't want to risk what's happening to his body by just staying too long.
Right.
Right. Before this fight, with he says put up Mighty Action X and level 3 to Emu, but I think like once Hero shows up, he just settles for what he got and gets. Also, we forgot about. I mean, it's hilarious how he just like beats up the Buckster like no problem. But it continuously shows in the show that he is the veteran. He's basically the most experienced fighter. Like, it doesn't matter who's against him. He's basically, if he's like, if he doesn't let his emotions get in the way, he can like basically take down anyone. I mean, that's why graphite's kind of a problem, because it kind of gets under his skin a little too much. But what did you guys think of the Buckster design?
It was pretty generic. It seemed to be. Because a lot of the level 3 Bugsters, as I'm calling them, the ones that had Shanbara beat robots and
Well, I think compared to the robots
combat,
and the beat
all
one,
seemed pretty similar.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty fitting compared to those. It's just
Yeah,
the Giddy Giddy one was just so amazing.
I don't know. I'd really like this one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd really like it's just the damn fighter cockpit on top, but as like shoulder pads and chest armor, and it works so well. Especially when like Taiga gets his level 3, and then it's basically the same thing. Like his helmet goes down all the way to his chest, and it's like a breathing system. And I was like, oh, so clever. Plus, like orange and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of more impressed because like they made a fighter jet as opposed to like, most time when we do planes, it's like just the propeller one. Like, how many of those guys did we have in Ghost? I mean, they were fun, but yeah, like whenever it's like a plane, guys, it always ends up being like a damn biplane or something. It was a fun design, fun episode. Well, fun fight, that first one.
Yeah.
Anything else about that Buckster, you guys?
No. Other than we then go to Hiro being pissed that, still pissed at Taiga that Taiga didn't save his girlfriend on 0 Day. Which kind of understandable. I'm sure we're not getting through that. I'm sure that thing will come to a head when we finally get closer to killing off Graphite. Whatever that is.
Any thoughts on this decade?
I don't know. I mean, it's just he was using a proto gut shot. Like, can you really blame him? He couldn't even turn into level 2 with that proto bang bang shooting gut shot. So why are you so salty, dude? But yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, I can see him still being pissed because, you killed somebody he really liked.
Yeah.
But I'm actually happier that he's still a little pissed about it because, like,
Oh, of
after
course.
episode 6, which was, you guys are like, episode 1 was, like, the lowest in this show. I mean, by low, that just means it was decent. For me, episode 6, I think, was the lowest because I'm like, what the hell, Hero just got over this, basically, in this episode. But no, he still has that grudge, which I'm like, okay, at least that's understandable. But I was still hoping for him to actually be like doing surgery, but I guess Taiga's a radiologist, so he really wouldn't be doing surgery. I mean, he took down, as you see later on this episode, like, he was a pretty good fighter. He took down, like, basically all of the other Bucksters that were released back then.
Right.
And, like, just because Hero has a grudge doesn't mean Taiga was wrong. And like you saw, he was pretty fucking broken up that he got his ass kicked. And then like even more pissed that like after he did all that shit and beat all the Bucksters, they just like tossed him aside and took away his freaking doctor's license.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what's driving him too. Right, like because instead of being like one note where he's just a villain, I think he's more that he's just so jaded. It's like, okay, I did all this to save people, and then you just took away my ability to be a doctor, right? And
Right.
then so all I'm left with is just to be a freaking writer. So only one of me, only one writer should exist, because at least then I'll have something to do. I'm thinking that's what he's playing in. But like, yeah,
Maybe. But yeah, we get through Hero being pissed and going. The patient finds out about the factory, and Emu promises that they'll go visit the next day, which is a thing.
yeah, that was a great scene. Like the workers coming out.
Well, before they actually go to the factory, we do have a cutaway to the villains talking about the proto gadgets, and that they possess bottomless power, but using one will destroy your body. And it seems like this is the first time Graphite's really hearing about the proto gadgets and from eavesdropping. So you would think Graphite would know about the proto gadgets. So that's interesting.
That's the kid.
Well, I guess he kind of just thought that his bugster strength would be enough, but it's clearly been shown that it's not, so he's all excited now that he's got a new way to level up, so to speak. And he doesn't really care about the cost to the body, because maybe it won't affect him because he's a bugster. Maybe it won't affect his body.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, maybe it only affects humans, but Peridot, or this is so annoying. Damn you, Japan, with your Ringex. Right, like he just tells Dan that, like, you should stop using the proto gashets because they're shortening your life. So has he been using them? Also, like, was Taiga's original, like, because they refined it, and then they took it away, and then he got it back 5 years later, right? Like, you don't even know if he had level 2 back then. Maybe that's why you had to make that special bullet technique.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is that why he's dying?
Because we only saw him as level 1 in the flashback.
In the flashback, yeah. I mean, maybe that's why he's dying, because he used the proto gashets too much.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. Also, that factory got attacked. Like, was anybody else surprised? Like, nobody freaking died. I mean, like, okay.
It's Toku.
Yeah, it's that. Plus, it's also a factory. Like, they're not gonna come down that easily. But all he did was hit the roof, so I guess they had enough time to get the hell out. That's one of those, like, 50-50 things.
Right.
Yeah, but that scene was great. I don't know, man. It just hit me. I kind of teared up a little bit. When, like, the workers are like, oh, the boss is back, and they're, like, all being, like, super happy and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's a great scene. And then the daughter shows up, and I'm like, God damn, man, I feel like ass because I don't feel that emotional right now. I'm like, ah, shit. Anyway, next.
The next is Curia action. This was before that factory scene. After talking about the proto gadgets, Curia actually calls Dan and challenges him to a fight.
I love how he just, like, calls him up. It's like, hey, buddy, what's going on? Pretty much,
That's
right?
right.
Nobody trusts me now, thanks a lot.
Yeah. So after the factory scene is, we start the main fight scenes of the episode. We start off with almost a triple headshot, no on-screen transform. I don't think there were on-screen transformations, just sounds.
Yeah, I think it just, like, flashes pink and then cuts.
Yeah, Snipe, Ex-Aid, and Brave all henshin. And then it gets to a commercial break. She's just like, dang, right in the middle of a climax. we could have had a triple henshin, but nope, commercial break.
You know what? I mean, that was, but it's one of those like clever things the show does. It's like, it's a parodied episode when they put the henshin in, and all it is they play it fully is just to parrot it out. Like, it's the damn new Sailor Moon Crystal problem where it's like they were just constantly adding the like full henshin sequence. It's like, okay, just speed
It's
it up.
better than it is a better transition than Wizard jumping down some stairs and then ending up in a forest after the commercial break.
Well, he has a teleporting ring, but yeah. Yeah, it's Toku logic. But I've also seen like that fight in episode 3 when there's like 3 riders like basically going at it. They just like spread up the henshin. And this, it's like, okay, man, nobody's really here for the henshin. Like, just cut it and get to the fight. I'm like, okay, show, you're doing a smart move because you're like, alright, we only have a limited amount of time. We're just gonna tell a good story instead of a damn parroted story, because this would have been a 2-parter in any other show and it would have sucked.
Right.
But this one, the pacing is perfect.
So yeah, the commercial break, and then we get Kira versus Dan henshining. And then they both go level 3s to get humanoid fighting, because otherwise it's a bike fighting a dude with a bike.
Yeah,
would have been epic. They just had to ruin it.
Okay, then you have to decide, okay, is it Axel versus Beast, or is it Autovasion versus Beast?
It's Autovasion versus Beast.
I know, right?
So yeah, after that, they go 3-way. They go 3-way over at the level 3's over at the 3-way battle. And we get the debut of... This show has weird form names.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Combat Shooter Gamer? Snipe Combat Shooter Gamer? I don't know. It's weird names here. Curiosity to the rescue. Because
don't you have a wiki?
I'm sure we have a wiki. For some reason, I find myself defaulting to TV Asahi's site a lot of the time. Kamen Rider Snipe Combat Shooting Gamer Level 3 is the full title of the form. This show has long form names. Well, TV Asahi's site does have them in English underneath. But yeah, it's not quite as complex of a transformation from bicycle to humanoid, but it is a cool design with the wings. And the colors of the blue and the orange work.
Well, the jingle, if that's not a homage to the Jetman opening,
oh,
I don't know
what
what is. Oh,
I
totally.
Don't know.
You guys need to just go to YouTube and play that thing right now.
Let's go. Let's
play the Jetman opening.
What's funny is in the toy, the level 2 form, the jingle starts with the 5 notes that remind me a lot of Highway to the Danger Zone from Top Gun.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea if it's intentional or not, because that's another Jet game. Well, Jet movie that had a game, but yeah.
I was just thinking of oh shit, is it in Time Ranger when you like see inside the mask and they have like the breathing? No, All Ranger has that.
No, it was Go-Go 5. Go-Go 5.
Oh yeah, Go-Go 5.
Because they were rescue Sentai. It was for the smoke.
I wish I wish more shows would do that, but then like the problem is they'd have to make like super fancy helmets and toys too damn cheap.
I just want to backtrack a bit. I'm totally fine with them leaving out the triple henshin because Kirya's mid-air level 1 to level 3 henshin is pretty awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But that does resolve from last time the problems that from going from 2 to 3, he has to have somebody else, but he can go straight from 1 to 3.
Yeah, see, I thought he was gonna go 3 straight, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. I forgot that level 1 existed for a second. Oh yeah, you can use that.
So yeah, after going jet combat, Taiga beats Hero and gets the Do Re Mi Fa beat Gashat. He then releases the Bugster that he's been holding captive for M to fight. And being the dick he is, I think we can all follow. I think the words of the great Admiral Akbar are quite appropriate here.
Yep.
The words, "It's a trap."
Nice. Yeah, see, at first I'm thinking, oh, he's doing a nice thing because, like, you know, before he saved a patient too.
No, just a trap to
In
get
episode
robots.
3, yeah. I'm like, alright, he's not, like, heartless, but then I'm like, this opportunity is too good. He wouldn't, like, just let this go in the middle of a fight, right? And then, I guess technically he was like, for him it's like, whatever, man. I can save the patient and get the thing I want, why not?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think if the patient was really going
Yeah.
to die, he would have just like, alright, screw this nonsense, I'm gonna kill this Buckster.
He also spouts once more, "I'm the only writer needed" during that.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to reconfirm it to himself.
I'm sure there's a reason we'll get.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can speculate. That's what this damn podcast is anyway.
Right.
I still think it's just him trying to, like, reaffirm to himself that, like, this is the right course of action, and, like, you know, the world spited him, and now he's just gonna freaking get his. It doesn't matter who gets in his way, type of thing. Which sucks, but, again, one of those things where it's like, it makes the writers fighting amongst themselves make a little bit more sense because they're not here because they hate the other writers. It's more like they got something to do and these guys are in the way.
Right.
And also, I mean, which also explains like once they get their shit together, these guys could actually work together. You know, like even in Ryuki, when they like fight, right, some of them really want to freaking like off the other ones, but like, if you give them enough time to like calm their heads down, like yeah, you can see them working together. That's what happened. But this is a little more better setup for that, for cooperation, where it's like, yeah, they have internal problems. Like once they figure out that like not everything they do is in conflict with each other, like they could actually become a team. You know, so it's like a good balance of like animosity and potential like not friendship, at least teamwork. Also, does freaking Graves level 3 just remind you of Kota's freaking DJ gun?
Oh, totally, yeah. DJ Jew.
Yeah, the wave effects are like Beethoven from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about this?
I really like the critical strike. It really reminded me of Zolda's final vent and just the sheer destructive power that had. I mean, Zolda's was just the best because, I mean, it just completely destroyed that industrial complex. But, I mean, this is still pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't think they can put. Then again, Zolda is like a lot more armed up.
Oh, yeah, dude, that final vent had, like, laser beams and all this other crazy stuff going on. It was so amazing. But yeah, this one was pretty awesome too.
Also, did you see like during yeah, that's what I thought too exactly. Like yeah, I'm like, wow, we're referencing this show's making a lot of freaking like early Heisei references, and it's pretty interesting.
Even
Actually,
if it isn't intentional.
yeah, even Showa references as we find out stuff later on. But very interesting shooting this episode because last time they were doing like camera work from like the Buckster's point of view. This time a lot of freaking drone shots. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was cool. Like I don't know, man. The shots were so well done. Like because it'd be like fight, and then like they'd change the shot, but it'd be like okay, Snipe is aiming now, so it switches over to his like aim view. And then it swaps over to like a drone view. I was like, so good.
Yeah.
It's like, man, for how many writers they have, they're not skimping out on like mashing these fights together well. Especially because like it's Toei, you would think they would be like slow to adopt technology, but apparently this year, freaking CGI and drones everywhere,
Yeah.
and they work so well, right?
So far, so
Yeah.
good.
And that actually ends pretty much our the main part of the main storyline. And we switch back to Laser and Dan. Well, Kirya and Dan. Who, when Kirya asks Dan why he's fighting, he says, it's the same reason you are. To find out why the Bugsters are appearing. Cause, yeah, you would think Dan would know, but apparently he doesn't.
Maybe Dan's doing a Tron Legacy thing where it's like, alright, I made this thing and now like artificial intelligence is showing up and it's like I want to figure out why.
I'm sure we'll find out possibly towards the end of the show, unless we get a whole new set of enemies.
I mean, we might.
But yeah,
We're getting new
that seems
writers.
like something to find out at the end of the show.
I mean, there might be new ones because like, didn't Graphite say that he's like, okay, with this I can become a ruler? So what? Is it like the Phoenix thing of he's just, the people are holding his fun back or?
I don't know. They also mentioned that, Dan, Kirya, probably Taiga, and Hero all have had an operation to be compatible with the gamer driver. However, Emu has not had said operation, but can still use it. So I wonder what that means in the long run. Because I doubt it's more than just being a genius gamer.
I heard like well, it's not an old theory, but, like one of the earlier episodes, I think I was looking through the forums or something, and then somebody said, or maybe I was watching like a video or something, and people are like, maybe, like, because Emma got into that accident like years ago, right? And then his life was saved. Maybe it like split his Bugster and his human form.
Yeah, that would make sense for the old accident to have something to do with the reason why he doesn't need surgery.
Maybe that's why, like, he might have like some partial Bugster thing going on.
Here's just hoping it's not revealed in the the upcoming movie, because that's annoying. Because we have to wait 5-6 months to get that.
Yeah, that would be annoying. Yeah, the surgery thing was interesting because it's like, oh wow, freaking Showa Rider callback. With if you want to be a Showa Rider, you have to have an operation.
Cyborg. So then the very pretty much end of the episode is Graphite has stolen the proto Drago Night Hunter Z Yasha.
Monster Hunter reference all the way.
And says he can become a ruler with that, and There's not much to say there, other than the next episode is, what are we calling it? Knock the Dragon Away, which will be, at the very least, the debut of Kamen Rider Ex-Aid Hunter Action Gamer Level 5.
Level 5?
What? What happened to 4?
Cheated.
Here's a bit of spoilers. So far we have levels 1, 2, 3, 5, X, double X, and 50.
Oh wow, okay. That's interesting.
I wonder if they're gonna turn into giants by that point.
Oh,
The levels are all over the place in
Wait.
this show, and it's...
did they not do
sense
4
to-
because in Japan that's like an unlucky
It
number?
could be. I don't know.
Or
Yeah.
you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be the villain in like the X-Aid movie. It's gonna be, oh, what level? I'm level 4 because death.
The initial reports were this Hunter Action Gamer was going to be level 4, but now everything's saying it's 5. So
Yeah. Man, that form looks hideous though.
it does. But yeah, oh well.
We've gotten such nice ones, and now we're back up to like throw random crap on the main rider. It'll work.
We've got the boost equivalent coming soon. So
I guess that's good. What do you think, Decade?
As long as it has a fun jingle, I'm okay with it. That's my policy.
it's got a kind of fun jingle.
Alright. I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it.
I mean, this episode had pretty good music, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jetto in the sky.
That
Jetto,
is
Jetto Combato.
a total homage to the Jetman opening.
I don't think so.
What? You don't think so?
This is Rider, not Sentai. If it was Sentai, I would give it to you
So
100%.
what? There's been a ton of Sentai crossovers in freaking Rider shows.
I'm not buying it.
You will
Dude,
buy it.
Jetman is one of the biggest Sentais. They can make it. Here's the thing. I guess it's all up to either the composer or the writer.
Yeah, who knows? But that's all I have to say for this episode. You guys got anything else?
It's pretty awesome.
It was.
Yep. Fun ride. Hopefully the next one is as good. I mean, like, this was so well done. For like half an hour, it was pretty much perfect. Because like the preview for this, I was like, oh, okay, this might not turn out so well. Like, that might
Right.
just turn Taiga into like a villain starting this episode. And like, yeah, they kind of made him more of an antagonist than he was. But it's also like, he's supposed to be a danger now because, you know, he's level 3. So it was pretty well done. I have more reservations about the next episode than this one, especially because that
Yeah.
form isn't great. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I think if the plot of these past few episodes has been any indicator, despite what the forms are like, I'm sure the plot will still be pretty great.
Yep. So, I guess that's it, and see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Later.